Now either we heal now as a team, or we shall perish as individuals. So come on and grow a backbone. We are without doubt now living in a police state. And I just have to ask, where's all the tough men? Where's all the bikers? Where's all the football lads? Where's the real men? You know, just allowing this to happen, all quiet, not saying anything, just allowing it to continue, while our freedoms get eroded away one by one. Where are you? If you're men, perhaps you should stand up and grow a pair now, for your kids, if anyone. Mark my words, this is a perpetual cycle of tears and lockdown, and it is never going to end. We've had so many rights taken away, and it is very easy to lose them, but it's very difficult to get them back again. We should be very worried, and if we don't stand up soon and say enough's enough, then this will keep going on. So the 3 weeks to flatten the curve in March 2020 is now transpiring into schools being shut down to perhaps July 2021. And realistically, they are not going to probably open again to September if they do at all. This is so wrong. It is appalling. What people are failing to understand is that our kids have physical, emotional needs as well as their educational, and the psychological damage this is doing to them is unprecedented. There's no case for it whatsoever. Recently, NHS England reported that just 6 people, sadly under the age of 20, lost their lives to this virus. That is a very tiny amount of people in the grand scheme of things. Why aren't these things ever put into perspective? Now we hear the BBC have got airtime to teach our kids whilst they're in lockdown. I mean, who in their right mind with the BBC's record allow them to go anywhere near our kids' education and indoctrination machine? They've been teaching our kids as like 100 odd different genders and things. We didn't ask for this. This is crazy. And they're teaching it to 9-year-olds. Why can't they just leave our kids alone and just let them grow up innocently and enjoy life without pushing this down their throats? Now, we know most of the people who are happy to let the lockdown continue is mainly the public sector workers, people like the teachers, the NHS and the like, and of course people on furlough who are getting paid to sit at home and do nothing. Their lives have been completely changed. A lot of them have got extremely lazy. But now we're turning into a communist state because people become too reliant on them. And what they don't understand is that these employers do not have to give them their jobs back. And they probably won't have a job to go back to anyway. So they'll just be made redundant, no doubt. And once again, they'll be reliant on the state. And we are just falling into communism here. And people need to wake up. And my heart goes out to all these small businesses who are sweat, blood, toil and tears to make a living, and they've got no chance of doing that at the moment, because what we're seeing here is an economical attack now. We've seen the likes of Amazon get richer in all the supermarkets, whilst all these small businesses are suffering, and they'll probably never open their doors again. I mean, make no mistake about this, for whatever reason about the virus, they've exploited it to damage our economy and change things round. People should be very worried about this, because there won't be any normal going back to now, and they've done this on purpose. But what they're also doing is eradicating the middle class, and there's going to be a massive gap between the rich and the poor. Mark my words, we are really heading for communism now, and we should all be very scared about this. I've always said we can argue always about lockdown and whether it's right or wrong, but surely the simple solution, given that the government has stated that this virus for most people is the symptoms are no worse than the common cold, why can't just the vulnerable people shield? Why does everyone have to shield for this? Why can't they just shield until they've had their magical vaccine? Surely that's a sensible solution. And where is all this money coming from to pay for this furlough and the likes? This has all got to be paid back, because what people need to understand is it's not the government's money, it's our money, but we elect them to distribute it. And it makes you wonder where it's all coming from at the moment, when people are going to be on furlough for they're probably over a year now, and that's all got to be paid back. I mean, do you seriously believe that things are just going to go back to normal soon? Really? And what worries me is the people that actually suck up all this mainstream media propaganda. I mean, what is wrong with them? They should open their eyes and see what's actually going on. Just do a tiny bit of research for yourself and you can see that it doesn't add up. We were told that this would be over very quickly, but for it to go on now almost a year, there is something very sinister and wrong about this. Isn't it funny, things like nobody seems to be really dying of the flu anymore, or even old age? There's only one thing that just seems to get talked about. And don't forget, recently, NHS England reported that there was only 2,400 odd deaths related directly to the virus. People have been lied to because they've been inflating the figures, recording them down people with underlying health conditions. So it doesn't matter if they died of, say, of old age. If they had a positive test in the last 30 days and now they're increasing it to 60 days, then they'll just put COVID down on their death certificate, which is an insult to those who have suffered from terminal cancer and the like. It's an insult to them and their families. And what about all the people suffering because they've had their operations cancelled because of this? People not being held to have things like their gallbladders removed, just suffering in pain all the time. And what about those who won't get diagnosed with illnesses because of this? And what about the London Ambulance Service, who reported an almost double increase in suicides? What about them? Do their lives not matter anymore? What I also noticed is a lot of NHS staff are very cagey about all this, and they're also pushing the agenda, talking about how busy and overwhelmed the hospitals are. But this happens every single year. Whistleblowers have come to me and told me this. And of course, when the population's rising and they're removing beds every year, there's going to be an issue. What they also tell you is that the ICU is overwhelmed and it's at 100% capacity. But what they don't tell you is about only 12 beds in there. So once again, they're just economical with the truth and they're fiddling the figures and people just suck it up. What is wrong with them? Seriously, why aren't more people questioning this now? We know people being censored too for speaking out on the truth, and if that's not concerning, I don't know what is. What we should be most concerned about here is the future we are leaving for our children and our grandchildren. What would they say in the future? Why didn't we stand up for them? We cannot allow them to live in a world like this, where they've had their freedoms taken away, being damaged and indoctrinated psychologically, is ruining their minds. If we don't stand up now and do something about this and say enough's enough, like shops opening, getting life back to normal, like other brave countries have done, like our Italian brothers and sisters, just open up their businesses and the government are back down, then we'll only get worse. Where is your backbone, Britain? How much longer are we going to tolerate this for? Now, as I keep saying, it doesn't matter if you're brown, black or white. We all bleed the same blood of patriotism, and we all need to come together now to fight this evil that's being imposed upon us. We don't want this. We just want our lives back. We want to enjoy our lives in the short time we're here. What will your children say that you did? What imprints will you leave in the sands of history? Now think about the blood that our ancestors have shed for our freedom. It takes a lot to get freedom, but they can be lost in a blink of an eye. Now, if we allow this craziness to continue, we will never, ever get our lives back or our freedom. So wake up, people, pull a finger out. Enough is enough.